Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri. My next guest, Selma Blair, has appeared in wonderful movies like Hellboy, Cruel Intentions, Storytelling, the show American Crime Story. Today, she's here to talk about truly one of the craziest movies I have ever seen, Mom and Dad, where she and Nicolas Cage play a pair of homicidal parents trying to kill their kids. It is nothing short of bananas and also a lot of fun. Before we bring Selma out, I just want to remind our audiences at home that they can submit a question by using the Submit a Question button right next to this video. For now, let's take a look at Selma Blair in Mom and Dad.
Hey, can I go to a movie with Riley tonight?
With Riley?
Your grandparents are coming for dinner tonight, remember? Awesome. Grandpa telling his disgusting Vietnam stories.
Take my advice, don't ever have kids.
Everything just revolves around you, doesn't it?
Yeah, whatever.
What's the rush today? It's like we're waiting for a buffet.
What's going on? Is that McKenna's mom?
Multiple reports are now coming in of parents murdering their own children.
Listen to me. We have to get out of the house before Mom and Dad come home. Dad?
You take your right foot out. You do the hokey and you.
Yes, it's Mommy. Mommy's here. Are you two all right? We're not coming out, okay? You have to leave.
You're going to open this door. This is a really great idea, honey.
I forgot your parents.
That was tonight.
Everybody, please welcome Selma Blair. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh my God, this is great. Thank you.
So my first question, and I love this movie. It's so crazy. What made you want to take part in this? How did it come to you, and what was your first thought?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it is a wild movie.
I was kind of speechless when I read it, but Nicolas Cage, I'm sorry, I'm a huge fan. I would never turn down an opportunity to work with him, so there was always that. But this script was fearless, and we're so careful now in movies, and you know, this genre is missing. I mean, this wouldn't have been a big deal if this came out in the 1978, 1980, but with the way things evolve, you know, content has to be really careful. And I really admired that Brian Taylor was saying, fuck it, let's go balls out. This is really dark. I don't know where it's coming from, but we're going to have a great time. And maybe 5 theaters will take it, you know, but it was made, and that was, you know, really punk rock and really fun. And no, the idea is horrifying, but there's not really a lot of gore or anything.
No, not at all, actually. I'm curious, you know, you're a big Nicolas Cage. I'm a big Nicolas Cage fan as well, and one of the things that I like about this movie is that we get full Cage. Like, it's been a while since we've gotten Cage out of the cage, I think. And
Exactly.
were you aware that it was going to be like that with him in this movie based off of the script, and what was it like doing those scenes with him?
Well, Brian Taylor had worked with him before, and so they have a shorthand, and Brian said, no, this is going to be a movie, you know, that's bringing Nick back, and you know, what we love to see, even though people love all aspects. But so I did get an idea, and you know, he's such a pro on set, and so really like a very sophisticated, quiet man. And so it's just really amazing to see him just get so big. But he has so many art references and things, you know, that really bring this out to him. I mean, it's really studied mania.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I go back and I look at the early stuff, and I've seen interviews with him about the early work where it's total mania, and he talks about how he was like really interested in combining different forms of art,
like kabuki western.
Yeah,
I mean, he has a whole thing, and he does. He's someone that wears a costume on a daily basis more often than not. He really gets into the drama and homage of costumes and creators, and it's all really purposeful. But he does have that, energy always underneath, ready to go if he's unleashed. That's part of him. I'm not really like that. My Kendall was a very different, more calculated, energy. So to have us together was a delight.
Yeah,
for me.
your character, so like he is definitely the raving maniacal lunatic, and your character, when the screws turn or when everything turns for her, is a bit more, like you said, kind of calculated. You even do this interesting thing in your performance where you kind of tightened her up in the moment where she became homicidal, and you have like this neck creak kind of thing where you're looking around.
Little Gary Oldman reference from The Professional. No,
is that what it was? Oh wow,
it's like very subtle, but I'm no Gary Oldman. But it was, it was.
He has that kind of
when he, before he'd do that crack. But no, that was totally subconscious. But she was someone that spent her life trying to be a good mother, and then when she kind of gets the freedom as this zombie type of thing, you don't know what's happened to these people, then she's gonna kind of find her old passion for life again. All subconscious, but she's, it's weird. She's finally like on track when she has this plan to take out the kids, and they're crazy. They're kind of like on a hot date together again, Kendall and.
That is true. Yeah,
they're,
and we
they're
see that.
finally together and agreeing on something because their marriage had so kind of drifted with letting themselves go and raising the kids. So there's the metaphor in there and all that stuff.
You work. I feel like you've worked with a number of really great directors over the course of your career. Directors who are willing to kind of go balls out, for lack of a better expression, be it something like this or something like a Todd Solondz film or even something like working with Guillermo del Toro. What drives you to working with filmmakers like this?
They'll work with me. I mean, I think the real thing is, I think there might be a gravity about me that's a handicap, thought of as a handicap in a lot of other roles. The girl next door role is not going to be mine unless the girl next door looks like she's taken a bunch of pills or something. Like, I don't...
Which is the dark horse character, yeah.
Which is the dark horse character. I mean, there's just... my presence might have a certain gravity. And, I don't always fit in the lightest roles. I would like to. But, but I think I appreciate these directors so much, and I would fight to work with Todd Solondz again. Any of them. I mean, Todd has such a specific style, and he's so clean, and he's always been what people think of as so out there with his films, but I think he's so absolutely endearing and truthful.
The sweetest man, sweetest little weirdest man in the world.
I know, he really is. The kindest, fairest person.
You would have no idea that any of the things come from him that come from him.
No.
I am curious. You said he's very clean. We're going to talk mostly about Mom and Dad, but I've heard that he, as a director, will do endless amounts of takes, kind of thing, trying to hit the right tone because it's such a specific balance in the work.
The first day that I worked with Todd on storytelling, and then I worked with him again later as on Dark Horse.
Which I have to tell you, Dark Horse is an amazing performance. Storytelling is great too, but Dark Horse, I rewatched that not so long ago. It's really an underrated Todd Solondz film.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful
I know.
performance. Like, very measured.
Thank you so much. It was my character from Storytelling. Come back.
Is that right?
If you look in the credits, it says Miranda, formerly known as Vi. Also, if you look in the credits of Mom and Dad, Nicolas Cage gets a credit for singing the Hokey Pokey. But yes, in Storytelling, the first day on set, I had auditioned for Todd, and so I had some idea of what he wanted. But then the first day on set, as my boyfriend kind of stumbles away, and I'm on campus, and I'm looking after him, and I don't know, I'm so new to kind of acting, and I'm looking every which way, giving him all these looks that I think he might want for cutting. He's like, "Stop, you're gonna ruin my movie. This isn't Dawson's Creek. I mean, that's a wonderful show, but this isn't. Stop, just look." And I was like, "Oh, I get it. I can just be still." I mean, I was really schmacting.
If anybody's ever seen Todd Solondz, that was the most wonderful impression that someone's done of him.
I don't even like to go to the grocery store and walk home with a bag that's plastic. People see what's in my bag. It's very personal. That's like, he's a very reserved gentleman.
And now, what was it like working with Brian Taylor here, who I would imagine on set is going more like bigger, smash it, destroy it?
He doesn't say much. I mean, he's really a likable, wonderful guy, true friend, but we all kind of had a shorthand. Like, I just got it. You're either in with this script or not. But yeah, he would say, you can go there. I mean, to Nick, but Nick doesn't need permission. But yeah, I kind of just got it. For this character, I really liked it. The birthing scene was horrifying to me, but the Roxette music cue is one of the best music cues I've heard in a disturbing movie ever.
The birthing scene is kind of like, as soon as it starts, like, I can't believe
I
I'm going
vomited.
here. This is
It was
insane.
horrible. I vomited. And that was a day that I really was
While
like,
shooting
Brian,
or watching?
while shooting that movie, because there are bereavement babies that are made by this very talented woman for mothers that have parents that have lost their child as a newborn. So we were using these very authentic babies with the weight of a baby, and they're covered in some like red Hershey's syrup, and I couldn't. It was so upsetting to me. And then what's happening, and the mother and the umbilical cord, and yeah, I was like, is this day ever gonna end?
It's
I
an
just
upsetting.
was throwing up. Really, I'd have to go in the other room and just. It's upsetting. It's so upsetting, and it's one of the funniest, most horrific scenes I've ever seen. And I mean, the movie might not be for everybody. It's not a premise everyone's like, you read a couple reviews, they're like, not funny. Parents killing children is not funny. I'm like, yeah, no shit, it's not funny, but a movie can be.
Yeah, but
Maybe, but it's other things. It's a genre.
Brian Taylor, we've seen as a director in the last decade or so, has he has the knack of like, the movies come out like, fuck the critics. It's like 5 years later, everybody is getting together to watch Crank and Crank 2, and 5 years later, everyone's going to get together and watch Mom and Dad.
Well, hopefully in 5 years I'll get another job then,
Sorry.
because it's gonna take a while.
I just mean it'll be a cult.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I agree. And I actually think it's pretty tame. I would like to say, go further, but, then it's a tough one. But I was really laughing out loud and had the chills with that birthing scene. There's nothing like it.
I really like the way that it kind of hints at how crazy it's going to be, specifically in the scene between you and a former boss, which is just kind of a scene where she's trying to get a job, and it could be quite banal, but you play it in this kind of like, she is sort of teetering on the edge a little bit, and it's kind of sort of repressing a lot of that.
Yeah, Kendall's really run down. I mean, she's desperate. She's desperate to find herself. She was really cool once, and yeah, she just really can't get a break. No one wants her. No one wants her. And it happens.
You say Kendall, that reminds me of the last name Jenner. You played Kris Jenner. Did you like that
Yes.
little transition there?
Yes, I like it.
In American Crime Story a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that process and playing that character? And
It was a small part, and I was thrilled to play it. I was thrilled to play the icon that is Kris Jenner, who I really, truly think has done an amazing job with everything in her life. It was strange because there comes a lot of expectations when you're playing Kris Jenner. And no, I don't look exactly like her, and I'm playing her from, 20 years ago or whatever. And she was a very different person then than she was now. But it was I'll probably get more attention for that role that I was on 3 episodes, than almost anything I've done. But she was an incredible woman and gave me so much information, and I wish I had more to play with. Yeah, I talked to her, and we became friendly, and went to the Christmas party. I didn't miss out. She was very generous with her time. I didn't know how big or small the role would be, so some of the information was just kind of irrelevant, except for my own. It was just wonderful to know and talk to her, but she's really an exceptional woman, and I would like a whole movie on her, but...
Have you basically become part of the Kardashian family now after that?
No.
I
wish.
Parties.
I wish. I know. I wish. I mean, they invite a few people to the Christmas party, but no. I really like them. I really like that Chloe. All of them. You know, I have no problem with any of them. But no, we're not really like, we don't run in the same circles. My circle is very small.
What would you say, you've been in so many roles over the years, what would you say, you know, Mom and Dad is such a wild movie, and I think I mean, depending on what you like as an actress or what you like as a viewer, kind of a career high point, it's so wild and crazy. What would you say the toughest role you've had over the course of your career has been?
Oh, God, I don't know. I think surprisingly, I mean, it was such a wonderful thing, but Hellboy 2 was one of the hardest for me because Liz, the character I play, who's a fire starter, if she has any kind of real emotional trigger, she bursts into flames. So I didn't know really how to build this grown woman who I could play as a teenager a few years earlier, but now she's a grown woman about to have a baby. And I didn't know. I really had a kind of challenging time figuring out how to get something out of her without thinking, no, but this would cause her to burst into flames. You know, so that was something I so wanted to do right by it. And it was hard to get a handle on a grown-up Liz.
Like, how do you have an emotional arc not come off as flat when, like, your entire character doesn't
Exactly. I mean,
project?
Thank God that film is so spectacular and epic with everything around it that it's okay if Liz is a little flatter of a character. So it's not on me. I mean, they're all really doing all the heavy lifting. But just as a person, I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry if I'm a disappointment. But I love those films, and I love him so much, Guillermo, and everyone involved in that. This one was great fun because it was my first one going back to work in like 6 years because I had taken all that time off to be with my son. And now, so he came to Kentucky to shoot this with me.
I'm laughing because you took 6 years
I
off
took
to be with
6
your
years
son.
off to be
and
with
then
my
you went
son.
And made a movie about killing kids.
And then I was totally exhausted and realized, okay, I need to get back to work and get a focus. I'm losing myself. And then this is the one I go back with. I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea.
What is it? Is it hard getting back to work after taking 6 years off?
Yeah, I like laying around.
Yeah, so
No. You're not laying around when you have a little boy like Arthur. No, I do everything with him. I mean, he wakes up at 4 a.m. to build a fort outside. And I do it because he's a single child and I have no other excuse. Like, I'm not working that day, so I better get out and build a fort before I take him to school. But no, it's hard to get back in, I'm sure, because I'm not going to travel too far yet in the past. Now I'm willing to because I wanted to be with I wouldn't leave my son. So it's hard. There's not a lot that shoots in LA that want me. I mean, there might be something that wants me, but then it's, in another country. And then, oh my God, I was watching the Pamela Adlon series, Better Things.
So great.
Why can't she want me? It's so good.
Send her an email.
I tweeted at her.
Oh, okay.
I don't have her email address. If we were friends, maybe I would have been on the show already.
Knock on her door, I mean, I think the house
where
is
she
in the
lives?
show. Like, no.
Oh, her real house?
I don't know if that's
no,
her real house.
No.
But
Oh my God, how creeps. I can't do that, no.
Hi, it's
good.
me, Selma Blair.
Hi.
I'd like to be in your show.
Yeah, well, maybe.
She might take it as a compliment,
Right?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Pamela, if you can hear me, great.
Do you, going back to, like, I think one of the first roles of your career that, I think will be iconic at this point for kids who grew up with it, Cruel Intentions, which is it, when you did the kiss in that movie, it was so controversial, and it was talked about for years, but now it seems incredibly tame compared to what we watch on a daily basis on
Times change.
daytime TV and cable.
I was a pioneer. I was
were.
a kissing girl pioneer. No, we were. It was a huge deal. I remember reading the script and thinking, oh, I haven't seen this in anything. And it was my first really big movie. And I was older than everyone, but I was playing like a 13-year-old going into high school, which seemed totally appropriate because I was so starstruck by all of them. They were all like big teen stars, and now...
Oh, that's right. She was Buffy and...
Right,
yeah.
and Reese Witherspoon was already well-established, and...
Tracy Flick by that point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and Ryan was, and all those new, like, teen... Yeah, they were a big deal for a girl. I mean, they're still a big deal, huge. But anyhow, so I felt like the giddy kind of dorky Cecile that I played, but it was a huge deal, and there were so many like mock-up things of it, but now that's like old hat, just same-sex kissing stuff, and more power to it. But it was really a big deal. My mother was very shocked, like, oh, Selma, did you have to give so much tongue? It looks like I raised such a sloppy girl. It's like, Mom, I'm playing 13. She didn't care it was with a girl. She just thought that
She said that you look like a bad kisser.
Yeah. And I was like, well, and she's like, and there was spit. And I'm like, I know, we worked really hard to get that spit take. I mean, we didn't know, but the producers like kept having us do it until there was that string. Like in that Marilyn Monroe movie. Were
they looking for that to try to get the string, or was that
I don't know if they were looking for it, but when they saw it, they knew.
We got it.
Found it.
We got spit.
No, they did. We got spit. Yeah, we got spit. We connected.
What was the craziest you got to see Nicolas Cage go while shooting this movie?
I think it was the scene with the pool table. Like I was watching him do it. We were shooting us kind of simultaneously, and I was really jarred. He is such a force. So yeah, I really was moved, and it helped get into the scene that we then went on to kind of shoot this flashback scene that was a little more intimate look into our kind of repressed lives. But yeah, he goes there. I mean, he has so much energy and focus, and it can be terrifying.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I was never afraid he was going to hurt me or anything, but yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, I'm not someone that loves like a big screamer or like sledgehammer breaking stuff around me. Yeah, you feel like you're witnessing Daddy go nuts. You kind of rely on him. He's kind of like the captain of the ship, and yeah, when there's big stuff happening, it's always kind of jarring.
I love that monologue that he gives in that scene about getting older and getting fat, and it's a one take. It looks like it's one take, it's one shot, and it holds on it. He's really great.
Yeah. He is.
Let's get some questions from our audience. Who has a question? Right here.
Hi, Selma. Hi. In one of your interviews over the summer, you stated that you would pull away from a lot of roles and people, and now you have sort of like this new era and rebirth where you feel like you deserve to have the best career and take the greatest roles. What was the change? What caused the transformation? Was it the birth of your son?
No, when I had my son, actually, really, I struggled with postpartum depression that I didn't talk about at the time for like 5 years. I mean, it was really severe. And I was a very, very connected, dedicated mother, and I had no idea how to do anything else. I mean, nothing. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I couldn't do anything, but just be with my son, it was really hard. And but then I got out of that. I kind of really hit a bottom where I just was like, whoa, lady, get it together. Get it together. You have a son to raise. You have a life to live. And I did. I really committed to that and surrounded myself with wonderful, strong people. And I'm so grateful that I finally got to the other side of it. It really was a challenge. And I am so much more humble and patient. And I have such a different as an adult. And I want and deserve, just as we all do, good things in our lives, and to be empathetic to people going through things, because I don't think I was before that. I don't think I understood.
Next question.
Hello. So earlier you talked about kind of feeling like you were picked for roles. Do you feel like you've been typecast over time, or do you relate to some of these like darker roles that you've taken?
It's funny because if I do kind of a bigger budget film, I'm very over the top usually. Legally Blonde or Sweetest Thing, I have a penis caught in my mouth. I'm sorry, you're like too young for that conversation. But I've done these kind of really risque, like Technicolor roles that are almost like a musical, like really kind of big acting. And then I get these indies that are a whole different side of myself that show a kind of, a silent gravity that, they might want. And so there's really I'm typecast in two different ways, but if there's a typecasting at all. But, now I feel like it's a whole different part of my life. And I just hope I can do good things. And so many incredible things really are being written for women now and done by women. And I'm hoping to produce a book that I bought the rights to that I'm not right for, sadly.
That's so cool. You're getting into producing.
Yes.
Can I ask
It's
what
an
the book
incredible
is?
book called The Lost by Sarah Beth Durst. The title might have to be changed for TV, but I just finished doing the, there was kind of a great show called called Lost. But it is a woman that is going through her life and she is really not happy, and she decides instead of going to check on her mom with chemo and go to work, she turns left and keeps driving and driving, and she finally gets out of this void and it says, "Welcome to Lost." And it's where everyone goes who needs to be found, and you can't get out.
And you feel like you're not right for the role?
Well, I originally read it and was like, this is an incredible role for me. I want to play this, I want to play this. And then I realized, no, I want this to be a success. I want this to go for a few seasons. And she would be like 50, and she's not. She has to be like a little younger, just for the real sake of someone really finding themselves a little bit younger in their life with the possibility of maybe children and things that could happen to her, as time went on. So, yeah, that was my first hard producing realization. I'm not right for the role I want for myself.
It takes a little bit of the burden off yourself as a producer. I mean, now you can actually like fully produce
Right.
as well.
Yeah, I have no idea how, but we're going to figure it out. And that's why I take it to bigger companies to say, hello, help me.
Yeah. I think we have time for one more. What do we got here? Right here.
Can you please tell us about your preparation for this role, which seems quite challenging?
My preparation for Mom and Dad, I didn't, the harder part was playing the mother that has kind of lost herself. The beginning part, that was a little bit more of a reflection on, Christmas future for me. And that was really draining and scary, and seeing this tragedy all around. So I just committed fully when I was there, and I left that. So I really didn't prepare. I just thought of keyholes to get into, headspaces I could get into before I did it. But playing the zombie mother part, that was just pure fun. There was nothing that was like, okay, she's clicked into something foreign to her. Like, just enjoy.
That's just like, where am I going? What am I hitting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just has a hunger, and she's happy to have this hunger again, and let's go.
I love the film. Congratulations. I look forward to the next work that you're going to be in. How can people see Mom and Dad? When can they see it?
Mom and Dad is out in some theaters. I think it's like 63 theaters, maybe more soon, or maybe a lot less, depending on how people respond. But there was 63, and it's on iTunes and on demand.
And really watch it.
You can get it now.
It's so crazy, and there's no other movie like it. It's so wild.
Yeah, I really love it.
Everybody, please give it up for Selma Blair. Let's hear it.